This is a quick tutorial on using the Orbit tool. The Orbit tool is, of course, used to move around your model. It is accessed by using the O key by default. And of course, I hold down the left mouse button to move back and forth, up and down, and around my model. If I use the scroll wheel, I can zoom in and out. And if I'm in the middle of a command, I can also use the scroll wheel to move in and out. I like to assign the Orbit tool to the S key for, remember that, thinking of spin. And that allows me to access the command without moving my left hand from its normal position on the keyboard. While I'm in the command, if I hold down the Shift key, I access the pan command, which can be helpful sometimes. And if I hold down the Control key, it allows me to orient things in a ways that wouldn't normally be accessible. Notice I can kind of spin things around here. It, like the command says at the bottom, it suspends gravity. So I'm holding down the Control key. Notice I'm going to let go of the Control key and use the command again. You'll see that the blue axis gets back to vertical pretty quickly. Don't use it often, but once in a while that's handy. Another thing, if I'm in, say, the middle of a command, let's say I'm in the line tool command, if I hold down the scroll wheel button, I once again access the Orbit command, and once again if I hold down the Shift key while I'm doing that, I'm in the pan command. I find it's not quite as repeatable or consistent as just switching to the Orbit tool by selecting S or O. And if I'm in the middle of a command, let's say I'm drawing a line from one end to the other, if I hit S for spin and orbit around, I can just hit the escape key to be back in the command. That's sometimes easier than using the scroll wheel button. So get used to moving around your model, moving in so you can see better what's going on, allows you to model better, do a better job of picking parts. So let's say I want to swing around to the other end here and create a groove at the bottom here. I'm going to zoom in so I can see well what I'm doing. I'm going to make a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch groove that goes down to the other end. So I'm zoomed in here nice and close. I'm actually going to use the polygon command for this. I'm going to click in the middle there, come out here. I'm going to tap the Control key to change that. There we go. So I'm going to come up 1/8, which of course gives me a 1/4 inch wide groove there. I'm going to erase that part of that, and we'll use push-pull to push this down to the other end. Now, I commonly see people moving the direction they want to go, and then in order to get the rest of the model in the picture, they'll zoom out. But that, of course, that doesn't help me if I'm way over there. So what actually works better, and it's not intuitive, is to move the opposite direction. Now I'm going to zoom out, and I can zoom back in. I'm still in the command. I didn't have to access any extra tools. I can click there, and then we'll bump that in another 1/8. Now I have my 1/4 inch groove. Now notice too, I'm trying to zoom out over here and nothing's happening. That often happens if your cursor is not over any geometry. Typically you have to be over geometry for that zoom command to work. So if I hit S, I'm back in the Orbit tool, and I can quickly and easily move around here, zooming out, zooming in. Notice once again, if I zoom out over here, it sucks the other side in. So very quickly zooming, and depending on where I zoom, I can manipulate the model very easily and quickly. So you really need to get comfortable with this. It needs to be very intuitive, and you will become a much better modeler in SketchUp.